speaking of future plans, what we don't know, John, is what exactly is happening with Warner Brothers games. The future.
Oh, that is insane.
Yeah, the future of this is up in the air. This is actually part of a bigger story that we need to recap for you very quickly. It's a bit of boring business stuff, but we'll get to the game stuff, I promise. This is via Sarah Fisher at Axios. AT&T has spun off Warner Media, forming a new media behemoth with Discovery. AT&T and Discovery have agreed to create a joint venture that would house Warner Media's premium entertainment, sports and news assets with Discovery's non-fiction and international entertainment and sports businesses. The companies announced on Monday. In a major course correction by AT&T, the deal essentially confirms shareholder fears that the company's $85 billion merger with Time Warner 3 years ago was not fully baked. The Time Warner acquisition wasn't enough to create a streaming service sizable enough to compete with Netflix and Disney alone. AT&T launched HBO Max little less than a year ago. It has roughly 20 million subscribers. Discovery Plus launched in January and has roughly 15 million subscribers. AT&T has been selling off assets to alleviate debt. It spun off its video assets into a joint venture earlier this year. It also offloaded smaller assets like the streaming service Crunchyroll and its wireless operations in Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands. So that's a big, massive story already in the entertainment world. Not necessarily something we would cover on the podcast. What they do not mention here, nor do they mention in the official press release, is what the hell is happening with WB Games, or rather WB Interactive Entertainment, which is the large conglomerate of 7 studios. No idea what's happening. So yeah, Discovery and Warner Brothers are now merging, and no one knows where that leaves Warner Brothers. John, why is Warner Brothers just not mentioned here? Or Warner Brothers Games, sorry. Why is it just is it just because it's a small fry?
AT&T, it's a small fry. It is not a blip on AT&T's radar that what they could make out of gaming. That's 100% what it is. AT&T, I'll say AT&T is on their high horse, and because of they thought buying Warner Media and merging all that stuff together was going to just blow everything out of the water, and they failed to do that. And so video games are just there. It's a whatever. That's literally what they think. It's just whatever. They're not talking about how much money. We all know how much money video games make. And so with this, it's AT&T just doesn't care about games and doesn't care about what they could do with Warner Brothers Interactive. Side note, I do like that they sold Crunchyroll because Sony bought it, and Sony owns Funimation.
Sony are trying to buy it, as far as I remember.
Trying to.
They're tying up in courts, some monopoly jazz going on, whatever. I just want my anime. No, this is this is what I thought when this AT&T deal happened a while ago, where it's they obviously wanted the streaming service. They wanted to compete with Netflix and all that stuff with HBO Max, and it didn't work out for them. But they were buying Warner Brothers, and they were like, "Oh, there's game stuff as well." Well, I guess we kind of have to buy that. But we're forgetting the whole thing. Maybe it'll work. But no, yeah, that's streaming stuff. We're not talking about that. IGN's Julia Alexander comes to us with the hot update about what's going on with WB Games. They reached out to a spokesperson who said the sale includes some of Warner Brothers Interactive / Warner Brothers Games, but not all of it. The sale, this is just some other interesting notes. The sale does include DC Comics. Discovery, through the new venture, now exclusively owns DC Comics with Warner Brothers. And Rooster Teeth are also part of the deal. Because
hey, look at that.
Time Warner owned them. So yeah, some but not all of Warner Brothers Interactive, John.
Doesn't make any sense.
To try and make head or tail of this, let's look at what studios we have within the Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment umbrella to try and make head or tail of this. So they have Avalanche Software, who are working on Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game coming out in a few years. Monolith Productions, who previously worked on the Middle-earth games Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. NetherRealm Studios, who work on Mortal Kombat and Injustice. Rocksteady Studios, who's currently working on Suicide Squad and previously worked on Batman Arkham, of course. Not Telltale Games, Traveller's Tales Games, or TT Games, who work on the Lego franchises, Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, all that good stuff. You have WB Games Boston, who make mobile games and also made The Lord of the Rings Online back in the day, which was pretty popular. You have Warner Brothers Montreal working on Gotham Knights, and then you have 3 other studios based in New York, San Diego, and San Francisco working on development support. So knowing all of that, John, which of these studios do you think is part of the deal, and which do you think AT&T are trying to keep for some reason?
I would actually go with WB Boston. I don't know why. We know mobile games kind of make a pretty good chunk of change. So, and Lord of the Rings Online, I don't know how well that's actually working out. To be honest with you,
I think it shut down years ago. This was an old game, but like
this was an old game. Okay,
like this was World of Warcraft at its peak, and like look at these other free MMOs out there, and Lord of the Rings is popping off.
Like that's the funny part is I would try. I personally, and because we're in gaming, we know this. Mm-hmm. I would hold on to Rocksteady, but that's the thing. Just sell them all. AT&T, you don't know what you're doing with them. Just be honest with it. It's cool. I mean, it's fine to say we screwed up. We didn't know. Here you go.
Yeah, I think whatever way you could work this out, John, is the studios I think that are most associated with Warner Brothers as a larger media conglomerate are going to be part of this deal for sure. So
yeah,
I think obviously Warner Brothers, all the Warner Brother Games title studios, including Montreal, working on the Gotham Knights game. I think they are definitely in it. Rocksteady Studios for sure, because they work on Batman, they work on Suicide Squad. Discovery owns all the DC comics now, so if they want to continue working on them, they either need to make a deal or they're part of the deal already. NetherRealm work on Mortal Kombat, and also like in for the past decade or so, also been working on Injustice, which is a DC game. So interesting to see whether they are part of this or whether they are going separate and instead are going to have to license or give up on Injustice entirely. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. So as far as I know, The Lord of the Rings is not a Warner Brothers own or licensed property. So I think if they want to keep Monolith working on Middle-earth games, they're free to go. Avalanche Software as well, working on Hogwarts Legacy. As far as I know, Harry Potter and that whole thing isn't Warner Bros. And then the only I feel like my gut says that they're gonna sell all of them except TT Games working on the Lego stuff. If they're going to not sell all of them, my bet is that Traveler's Tales working on the Lego stuff is going to be the one they keep. For some reason that like they can't contractually or whatever, they just make a lot of money off Lego games. I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, like one of them was staying, it's Traveler's Tales. I could want to say.
Well, I mean, looking at all the studios and what they've made, Lego is the only one that's like family oriented esque.
Yeah.
So I mean, if depending on how they want to, Perception, AT&T and Discovery and all this stuff, how they want to do it. So maybe, I honestly, I see TT. That's a good call, Finn. I like that.
Mm-hmm. It's also they said that they are obviously a lot of these studios are going to Warner Brothers. They didn't necessarily say they were keeping the ones that weren't. So maybe some of these studios, some of these assets that aren't getting pulled over, up for sale. Perhaps, and if they're up for sale, who are up for sale, and if people are up for sale, who's going to buy them? John, I am in full speculation mode right now. Right, I want your hottest takes. Part of me wants to say Sony will buy one of them. I'm not sure who. Part of me thinks NetherRealm, because obviously they're have a good relationship with them already. Big into fighting games. Just purchased Evo. A lot of money to spend over there on the Sony end. Obviously, Microsoft could buy things too. But out of these studios and knowing who has money right now, my guess is PlayStation and NetherRealm. Just, smooching.
I'll give you PlayStation NetherRealm. Part of me, I think, would be very interesting to see Microsoft buy Rocksteady. But honestly, I'll play the Xbox side. I see Xbox going after either Monolith or Avalanche, actually.
Hogwarts Legacy and Middle Earth. Okay.
Yeah, I see them going after those two because, like, Sony and NetherRealm, that actually feels really right to get to me. Mm-hmm. I like that. I really, really like that. Ooh, I think maybe Avalanche. Actually, I think Avalanche with Microsoft. I think that'd be kind of nice.
Avalanche. Okay. It'll be interesting to see if anyone wants to buy them right now when they're working on Hogwarts Legacy.
Also, very true. It's a gamble.
Yeah, definitely. Who else got just like part of me in my head thought like maybe Amazon would buy Monolith because they wanted to work on a Lord of the Rings game and couldn't, so maybe they would just get that. But I think they want to build their own thing. I don't think Amazon is in the market to outright buy studios. Maybe they will in a few years' time when they realize that they haven't released a successful game yet. But for now, I don't know. But yeah, like I forget who it was, so forgive me for not shouting you out. But there was some Twitter speculation, like basically calling out like Microsoft and Sony have a large amount of heavily taxable cash that they want to spend right now in investments, and like. No one knows what's happening with this Warner Brothers like interactive entertainment stuff, so there could be some opportunity in there to just like gobble up studios. I think, so Sony would be in the market to buy. I feel like if they were, they'd buy Housemarque, they'd buy Haven, they'd buy Kojima, they'd buy someone closer to them in a second party sense. But if they want to jump on an opportunity right now, I definitely think NetherRealm. If they're going to buy anyone, it's going to be NetherRealm. Whether they're up for sale, I don't know.